What up YouTube? This is Steven and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about 10 things I love about black people. And part of the reason I decided to make this video is just because there's been more or less some negativity floating around, and it's been like that for a while, really, to keep it real. And sometimes we can get so caught up in the struggle of being black that sometimes we don't just stop and pat ourselves on the back and let us let ourselves know and also our fellow black people know, just how awesome we are, just how much we appreciate and like and admire them for what they do and who they are as well. um, so before I get into this video, I just want to give a disclaimer. These are my personal opinions. I'm not trying to pass these off as facts per se. But these are my personal experiences, personal views, and just how I see things when it comes to black people. Um, and as well, I know that, black people are a multifaceted group. So all black people probably won't fit into every single category or every single thing that I'm going to mention. Granted. But nevertheless, this is just my opinion and how I see things. So yeah, that's my disclaimer. So here we go with this list. Here we go. All right. The first thing I want to talk about, um, black people. I really love that black people are able to turn lemons into lemonade. I like that. Like I really love that actually, because as we all know, the black experience is not the best experience, especially in the United States. It's not the best experience, but black people have been able to take things from that experience and turn them into positive things. Like say, even something simple as like greens. I think at one point greens were not considered a delicacy or something that you would eat, but black people were able to, fix them up and turn them into something you eat. And now, like, it's part of Southern cuisine, like greens. Like, you can't think of, if you think of Southern food, greens are going to come to mind. you know, and as well, there's other things about the black experience, of course, that are like lemons into lemonade. You know, like for example, segregation. Black people during segregation created their own businesses. A lot of them created their own businesses instead of trying to integrate into. Well, they weren't able to integrate into white businesses, so they created their own businesses and other organizations, and had some real success with that as well. Sorry. The second thing I want to mention and touch on, resilience. And black people, especially black Americans, are extremely resilient in my opinion. It's like considering all that we've been through as a people, it's like how are we still here? Because we've been through some like really almost like a horror movie type thing. Like the white supremacy monster is just trying to just take us out one by one, bomb us, lynch us, like all kinds of crazy things, all kinds of demonic things, all kind of violent demonic things. But we've been able to survive. And whether we're thriving or not is debatable. But we've been able to survive and at least thrive to some up to some point. So when I think resilience is like the one thing, if I had to use one word to describe the African American experience, I would say resilience. That's the one thing that captures the African American experience. Resilience. All right. The third I wanted to speak on, third thing, Like, I love black genetics. Like, black people, like, we've been brainwashed to think that we like missed out on the genetic lottery, but really we cashed in on the genetic lottery. Like, really, it may not seem like it because we maybe been so brainwashed to think things are negative about us, but really we've been like we like for instance, like when it comes to like black people's body, like black women tend to have like shapely bodies. I know that's not characteristic of every single black woman because there's some black women with some flat backs, but generally speaking, when you think of a black woman, I think as far as like body shape is concerned, I think that comes to mind like a shapely body. And when it comes to black men, like a really muscular body. Like, I believe that black people, specifically black men, can hold the most muscle mass or can support the most muscle mass on their body. Um, and as well, like, not to be lewd, but like black people, like, I think that helps make black people kind of like having like a shapely body and a muscular body helps make black people sexy. And like for me, I think like I have like a saying that I say, I got it from someone, but basically like if it ain't black, it ain't stacked. It's like you look at a black person and like you can look at like the lips, you can look at backside, front side, definitely the woman, like the the muscle tone. She, again, not to be lewd, BBC, like, and I ain't talking about the British Broadcast Company, etc. Like if it ain't black, it ain't stacked, and I think black people were actually like, God bless black people a lot when it came to genetics. And these other racial groups notice. They may not say anything about it. They may keep it to themselves. They trust me. They notice though. They notice. They probably talk amongst themselves about it, or talk on the low about it. But yeah, they notice, and they're looking at black people like, oh wow, like yeah, I wish I had it like that. But yeah, sometimes we do kind of get brainwashed and sip the Kool-Aid and think that black genetics are bad, but they're actually pretty good, or really good. Again, like you know, also skin tone helps protect against uh, harmful UV rays too. That helps a lot. Um, so yeah, black genetics. That's something that is really awesome about black people and that I love. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, talent. Like black people seem to be really talented, be able to like sing, dance, and act with, very little effort seemingly. Like, going to any church, you can hear some black woman, singing her lungs out and just going in on the mic. And as well, you can go like to some like place in the hood and see somebody like, well, maybe not so much now, but I know like in the 80s at least, um, like folks kind of like dancing on the street corner. I forget what they call that. I forgot. But yeah, like really good rhythm. Seeing, I know all black people don't fit into this category, as I said in my disclaimer, but you know, when you think of a talent, when you think of a good singer, a lot of times black people pop into mind. When you think of good dancers, black people pop into mind. Good actors. I think that's probably the only thing that maybe won't pop into mind immediately, and I think that's because of the way that the system is structured within acting, as far as like awards and things like that. So it's like, oh, this person's not an Oscar award-winning actor, so they're not relevant or they don't have talent. When that's not necessarily true. It's just that The academy is not recognizing the talent. And I think that's done strategically because they don't want to give too many black people their shine, because then it's gonna be like, well, what about us? You know, and they ain't gonna let themselves be outdone by us unless they have a plan behind it. You know, Moonlight. Yeah, they'll hype up that movie, right? They'll hype up Moonlight, right? They ain't gonna hype up Birth of a Nation, and I don't think they're gonna hype up Get Out. They might, maybe, but I think they might try to throw some shade at that. All right. Next on the list, creative. Like, black people are really creative. It's like I don't know if it comes from like the struggle black people been through, or just black people are just have a natural creativity. But yeah, like black people have created like tons of music genres that other people use and appropriate and make money off of. You know, um, as well, black people have created many useful inventions over the years. I mean, like George Washington Carver has created like many inventions, um, and he was, I believe, a slave at one point. Um, and like the street light or the traffic light, you know, gas mask, like very useful inventions. You know, I believe the air conditioner as well. I believe a black person pioneered um, some type of surgery. I think it's maybe neurosurgery, I think. But yeah, black people are extremely creative as well as talented. So they kind of go hand in hand, but I do feel the need to, you know, make a differentiation between the two. All right, next I want to talk about black hairstyles. And this probably could fall under creativity, but I really think that this needs to have a category of its own. Black hairstyles, like black people, especially black women, put on a hair show. I'm like, whoa, like so creative with their hairstyles. Like black men too, but especially black women. I'm like, like whoa. Like black women, they're giving you like, um, they can give you a natural. They can give you a weave. They can give you permed hair, braids, all kinds of different braids, like box braids, cornrows, micro braids, uh, dookie braids, also dreads too, and all kinds of different hairstyles. Like when the hair is straight too, definitely a lot of different hairstyles. And I'm like, wow, like like black women especially can put on a hair show. I was like, dang, like what other group of women doing that? What other group of women doing that? Like black women, they give you everything, and when they put on a hair show, in fact, it's like I think black women or black people are the only group of people who really do have like a hair show. Like that is a type of event. Just because there's just, so many things you can do with like black hair. And I guess that also goes back to genetics too. You know, kind of like we were taught to feel bad about our hair texture, but our hair texture is, you know, because we know how to work with it and use it, it's actually very useful, and it helps us be very creative when it comes to our hairstyles. In regards to black men, black men can put on a bit of a hair show too. Like black men, like waves, like this YouTuber, 360 Jeezy, he has got the most like glorious waves. Like, have you if type in, after you finish watching this video, of course, type in 360 Jeezy and look at his waves. Like, what? Like, I wish I could get waves like that. I really do. I can't get. I've tried to get waves like that. I can't. But I'm like, whoa, that is like a work of art. That is beautiful. But yeah, like Black Men give you waves, give you like a Dark Caesar, a fade, give you like designs inside of the Dark Caesar. Let's see, dreads as well, and Black women do dreads too, but definitely Black men. Dread, like dreads to me are like very regal, like very kingly. I'm like, whoa, like as long as the dreads are well maintained and look nice, the person who's wearing them looks very regal and kingly. I'm like, whoa, that is amazing. Yeah. Cornrows as well, afros, um, and going bald. Like Black men can go bald in a second and not skip a beat. Not every group of men can do that, but majority Black men can seem to be able to do that pretty well. Maybe a couple here and there who may not be able to pull off the bald look as good as other Black men, but yeah, you know, Black men, like what Black man be wearing a toupee? Like what Black man be doing a comb over? I don't even think Black men can really do a comb over. Yeah, like so when the hair starts to thin, Black men for the most part don't be really tripping about that. It's like just get the hair, just shave the hair off, keep it moving. And like especially if you like are a dark skinned Black man is even better. It even works better and looks better. But yeah, Black men in general, um, you know, great hairstyles too. And also interesting to note, the perm actually has originated from Black men, believe it or not. It actually originated from Black men, not Black women. I think Black women jumped on it later on after they, seen Black men with the conks. Also, another hairstyle that Black men rock pretty well. Granted, we had the Jerry curl, and that was like, yeah, they all can't be winners, but the majority of our hairstyles are winners, are good hairstyles, and people do from other communities and other groups. People do like to kind of like um, jump on our hairstyles and wear them. Um, but yeah, back to the perm for a quick sec. So yeah, the perm started from Black men. I believe it was like Ice Potatoes and Lye. That was the original how they did it before. You could go and buy a perm kit. You would use Ice Potatoes and Lye. Like just put them in your hair and then I guess wash it out and then your hair would be straight. So that's how they did it back in the day before the perm kits and stuff. And it started with Black men, believe it or not. That's what I heard. All right, next on the list is Black people are very welcoming and very accepting. Perhaps a little too welcoming and a little too accepting, but okay. You know, Another video for another day. But yeah, Black people ain't out to really get people. Ain't out to be all discriminatory and oppressive against people, believe it or not. Sometimes people like to um, act like we're on equal footing and can actually be racist and oppressive and it's discriminatory, which we're not in a position to do that. But yeah, even within the community, like Black people are generally accepting. You know, just because you don't look exactly like them, they aren't going to be all like, ill. Get out of here. At least in my personal experience, some people may have different personal experiences, but in my personal experience, I've never, for the most part, never really felt shade, or felt unwelcomed. And other people who may have been perhaps like a Latino or Asian who lived in Black communities have been able to, live their life and be more or less accepted. People didn't throw them shade or anything like that, or tell them that they weren't welcome here, or even some Caucasian people as well. But yeah, I really like that. You know, black people are very welcoming and very accepting. And I think that's something to be proud of and something that's positive. All right. Next on the list, black got your back. Like black people, when they down for you, they are down for you. They will ride for you to the end. Like black people support their people down to the end. Like if you haven't done anything like extremely shady, even still, some like black people still kind of support people like O.J. Simpson, you know, Bill Cosby, you know, Nate Parker. Like black people support they people, are people who they feel are their people. And I like that black people got, I like black people that, like, I like black that got your back. I like that mentality. I like that saying because a lot of times it's like sometimes it's when you look at the mainstream, it's like, oh, these people are like in for a moment and then the public abandons them and they're done. But in the black community, some people have had like say acting roles or hit songs from like years ago but haven't had an acting role or hit songs since, but black people still mess with them, black people still support them. They're able to still get jobs or some type of employment at least within the black sector of things. So yeah, it's like black people got your back. you know? A lot of times when I'm watching or when I've watched that TV show What Would You Do, with John Quinones, a lot of times black people be the main ones popping up and challenging folks when they be doing some discriminatory stuff or some shady stuff. A lot of like, I ain't saying that other groups don't be doing it, but a lot of times it's black people who be challenging things. I know this one situation, like this black dude, all he had to do was just walk up and folks was already like, oh, we might need to stop this. We need to stop doing this discriminatory stuff versus the other people who are just walking by the situation and not trying to jump in or help. So yeah, I think black people got your back, and I really like that and appreciate that about black people, and something that I guess I personally kind of hold dear to me. Right, next, um, I love that black people are not totally obsessed with the thin is in mentality, because thin is in, there are some black people who are thin. Of course. I wouldn't say that there are. Like black people come in a variety of sizes. So, yeah. But I like that black women and black men aren't really concerned about being like black men aren't concerned about their women being super thin, and black women aren't concerned about being super thin. It's okay if you have some body fat on you. In fact, it's really a good thing if you have some body fat on you. So it's good that black women don't feel the need to have to maybe resort to some type of extreme dieting, which may lead to an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia. And I think that's part of the reason why black women tend to have lower rates of those eating disorders, partially because they have a positive self-image, and black men help them to have a positive self-image, and they don't have to subscribe to the thin is in mentality. So I really like that. You don't gotta be supermodel look, have a supermodel look or anything like that. You can have a bit of a stomach, some fat. So it actually works out well. you know. So yeah, I like that. Well, I guess I should say I love that because it's 10 things I love. So if I said like, I really meant love. Really adore, really admire, that type of thing. All right. So here's the last thing. Black people, by and large, are actually good people. That's what I like. This is the last thing. Black people are good people, believe it or not. We are often kind of like casted as like the villain for some reason, or like the boogeyman that's going to get you. But really, black people, especially black men, by and large, are not the boogeyman. I actually think that white people, especially white men, are the boogeyman in this situation. Again, like, take a look at black people's history in the United States, then take a look at white people's history in the United States. Compare the two. See what you get. And also, like, when black people ended, or when slavery ended, black people didn't go off and form groups like the KKK or groups like the neo-Nazis. Like, oh, we need to like get these white people and get back at them. No, white people formed those groups to get us for some reason. For some reason, they felt like they were the victims in all of this. Black people formed groups or helped form groups like the Civil Rights Movement, the NAACP, the Black Panthers, Nation of Islam. And people try to cast those groups, especially Nation of Islam and Black Panthers, as bad groups and try to equate them to like the KKK and neo-Nazis. Like, no. And it's like white people love to try and find like a comparison or an analogy for our groups and their groups, but there isn't. We don't have a group. Black people don't have a group that's like the KKK. Black people don't have a group that's like the neo-Nazis. Black people did not go out and parade around in their bed sheets and in dunce caps, attacking, mutilating, raping, bombing, torching places. They did not do that. Even groups that are more militant, like the Black Panthers, they were never on the offensive. They were on the defensive. And they used violence as a way to defend themselves, not to go out and get white people. They used that to defend themselves against thug, predatory, super predator white cops. But even then, it's like, they even tried to, during the Civil Rights Movement, they tried to paint that as like something negative too. And they were like totally nonviolent. But still, it's like, it's this narrative that like white supremacy wants to push, this narrative and this agenda. And we can see it. We know it's projection. It's really them projecting what they feel about themselves onto black people. And they're trying to do that for a couple of reasons. One, probably make themselves feel better. Like, oh, well, you're violent just like us, and we're just defending ourselves against you. Yeah. Or rather, another reason is trying to maybe draw like a parallel between white people and black people, and to project onto black people so that they are they feel better about themselves. And I guess those reasons maybe circle around to each other still. But yeah, I guess I've said all I have to say. So thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me your, maybe, perhaps you can make a video. Or perhaps, just maybe list something that you love about black people. There's other things that I could list, but these are just some things that I were able to think of off the top of my head, more or less. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Feedback and support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.